Good morning everybody, and welcome to the Mel Soul Golf School. I am Mel Soul, Director of Instruction and Master Professional, and we are at beautiful Paulies Plantation. This is a Jack Nicklaus signature course that I think is one of the best golf courses that Jack Nicklaus ever did, next to Muirfield Village. And if this golf course was in the shape that Muirfield Village was in, this would host tour events. This is good enough. When the original owner built this golf course, his goal to Nicklaus was make a golf course that can host a PGA Tour event, but put tees in to make it comfortable for the members to still play and have fun. And I think he's done an amazing job here. If you play this golf course from the tips, it's all the golf course you'd ever wish to have, but from the members' tees, I think from the members' tees it's maybe 6,200. That's a very reasonable golf course. If you play the seniors' tees, I think it's around about 58, 57. Again, very reasonable golf course. A thinking man's golf course. So, you know, you got to, Nicklaus was a great course management, thinking man. If you've got that lean in your golf game, you're going to play very, very well here. Today I want to talk about pitching, and we've spoken about pitching 100 times in different tips, but today I want to add in a little variation, and that is changing the trajectory of the pitch depending on the circumstances at the time. So the things that can affect the trajectory of a pitch would be wind, so either into the wind or crosswind, and even downwind. That would affect my decision on how to play a pitch shot. And also the lie. If I'm in a hole like that, I'm going to have to play a different shot to a nice lie that I have over here. So the changing of the trajectories is basically just changing the ball position. So when I want to hit a high shot, I'll play the ball. My normal pitch shot is about 2 inches inside my left heel. That'll give me my normal pitch trajectory. On the average greens here at Paulies Plantation, my ball's going to run about 10 feet. It's going to hit the green, it's going to roll about 10 feet. So I've got to land my ball about 3 or 4 yards short of the flag. So when I measure my distance with my rangefinder, I subtract 3 or 4 yards. That'll give me how far I want to fly this ball in the air. So, but if I want a little higher shot because the flag is a little closer to the green, or I've got to go over something, I don't open the club face, because once you open the club face, you've got to start changing club head path and doing all sorts of things which the average golfer doesn't have the skills to do. So keep it simple. Just move the ball a little bit more forward in the stance. What that's going to do is going to give you a little less forward shaft lean. My regular pitch, I have quite about a 10-degree forward shaft lean. Here I've got the weight more even, not as much on the front, so my shaft lean, as you can see here, is, so now when I come through, I'll just let the club come back to the ball. And I don't know if you could see on the takeaway there, but that had a nice high soft shot. If I'm playing in the wind, I want to keep the ball down. So first of all, I would change from my lob wedge to my sand wedge, so it's got a little bit less loft, and then I would move the ball a little bit further in my stance. Obviously further in my stance, I'm going to get an even bigger forward shaft lean, a little bit more than 10 degrees, maybe 15. That's going to give me a slightly lower trajectory, so the wind is not going to affect it as much. So whether it's a crosswind or into the wind, I'm going to do that. I mentioned in another golf tip called Crosswinds that when you practice in a crosswind and see how much the ball moves in the air. And I said give the wind a force. So a force 1 wind would be the trees just moving a little bit. Force 2 would be the trees moving a lot. Force 3 would be a big sway. Force 4 would be leaves being blown off the trees. Force 5 would be branches snapping and time to get off the golf course. So if it's a force 1, 2 or 3, hit practice shots and see how much the ball moves in the air for you. I noticed when I was hitting an 8-iron during that tip that a force one wind from right to left moved my ball about 5 yards in the air. So the next time I'm on the golf course and I'm in that situation, I know exactly where to aim. I'm going to move 5 yards to the right. So in the pitching, same thing. I'm just going to hit here. Now I'm going to have a slightly downward blow, but I'm not trying to. I'm going to hit my normal pitch motion. And you can see by the trajectory of that ball, definitely a lot lower. That ball will hold its line in a crosswind or into the wind. Usually when I play downwind, then I intentionally flight it high, because I know on a downwind shot, when the ball hits the green, it's going to run. So by flighting it a little higher, at least I'm giving myself a chance to try and stop the ball. The final shot, and I'll go back to my lob wedge, is when the ball is in a divot. This, I remember seeing Payne Stewart at Riviera during the US Open, and he hit his drive down the 18th, beautiful drive, middle of the fairway, and he was walking down the fairway, needed a par on the last hole to get into a playoff or to win, can't remember. But he looked up and he saw his ball in the divot, and you could see his shoulders slump and his head drop down. He knew that his chances of making a par were now suddenly taken away from him. It's a rule that I'd love to see changed, that if you're in a divot, you're allowed to move it. But of course, there's going to be arguments on the golf course as to whether you're in a divot or not. It's very clear here that I am, but if I'm, in an old one like that and the lie's not too bad, I don't see why I need to drop. But be that as it may, when I'm in a divot, again, I play the ball towards the back of my stance because I want a forward shaft lean. I get my weight forward onto the front of my foot and I hit down on the ball. Now the ball is going to come out lower because I'm hitting down and I'm de-lofting the club. So the ball's going to come out lower. When it hits the green, it's going to run. So if the flag's in the middle of the green, I'm actually going to try and land the short of the green and hope that it skips on. If I've got to go over a bunker, it's going to be a tough shot. So I've got to hit the green and let it run. But there you have it, 3 shots. High, nice little pitch, play it forward in your stance. Regular shot, play it 2 inches there. When you're in a crosswind or into the wind, play it down, get more forward shaft lean, and play a regular motion. The trajectory will change automatically. Add some more short game shots to your repertoire from the Mel Sol Golf School.